Courtney.
Right.
We didn't ever, did we?
See, this why we can't go live. Welcome everybody to the Real on Parenting. I am your co-host, Kiana Shaw, and this is my girl.
Purpose Danielle.
I'm gonna need you to not have the delay. The lag. Every
But
week
that's
it's the
not, I
same.
was trying to focus on not sounding like I just woke up. You know, when you first feel this your first conversation, real conversation for the day, and you just don't sound like yourself. That was my focus. So I'll say it again. Therapist Danielle. I don't even know if that make a difference, but hello everybody.
All right. So today we're talking about child support. Now we have talked about this before. However, there was a message that we received in our community, right? One of the members of our community received this message. I will make sure not to say the name of the person because anonymity is a thing. But the message says that her daughter was a witness to, right? And so she says, this person thinks the only reason you charge daddy child support is because you're a weak woman and you want to hold on to daddy because you want him back. She didn't say that to me, but she said it in front of me. She said the only reason a mom ever charges a man child support is because they're weak and they want to hold on to the man. That's why I don't charge my kids father child support. I have respect for myself. But all those women who do it are just weak and want the man back, and that's their way of keeping the man on a leash. Now, I don't know if that's directed at you, but it sounded kind of personal, right? And this is her daughter sending her this message. And so I was like, this is a great opportunity to address things. Like, I think that as a society, there is a stigmatization on child support where it relates to men. It's like, oh, you had to be put on child support, where a lot of men elect to be put on child support. You know what I'm saying? A lot of men prefer it as opposed to dealing with the drama of not. Uh-oh, my things are knocking over. Uh, a lot of men elect child support as opposed to the drama of not having it because it allows things to be more seamless, right? And then you have women who utilize child support for all things except the child, right? Because that's a real thing sometimes too.
Yes, it
But in
is.
this case, I was really concerned because one, you're speaking in front of a minor, right? Because that's the only reason that the girl would be messaging her mom, right? And I know the family, so it is a minor child, and you're saying this as though they don't know that their other parent is on child support, right? And so let's address this, Danielle, because there's so many facets. And when
Right,
I read it,
This
I got pissed off. You know what I'm saying? As a
well, yeah,
person
it
who,
made me feel some type of way.
right?
It made
Because
me
as a
feel something.
custodial parent who is making sure that all things are taken care of at all times, as a custodial parent who
Scheduled and unscheduled.
scheduled and unscheduled, right? As the custodial parent who has to accommodate for, like my daughter has a spring concert, a winter concert coming up. That's an outfit that has to be purchased, right?
Hair
Uh,
and all the things, right? Yes.
when her hair gets done, that's sometimes I do it. Sometimes I need to pay someone to do it, right? So I think that sometimes people don't really account for all the things. But I'm gonna let you start because I'm still
Sure.
gathering my thoughts. I'm not gathering my thoughts. Let me say this. I'm catching my words.
Yes. I like that phrase better. Got you. Well, I feel that we can all agree with this. Our views on child support is based on our personal experiences.
Right.
And so my experience with my father not paying child support
Mm,
was one of not that my mom needed it. She made a nice amount of money and was able to provide all the things. But
right.
providing all the things is not the point.
Right.
The point is being a parent is a partnership. It ain't like so, and don't get me wrong, there's meetups, if you will. One night
Right.
stands. There's things that happened, that
But
that
even in that, like, as it doesn't absolve the men because the sperm came out
right,
of you before the baby came out of her.
right.
Like, let's be
So
clear about that.
exactly, right, very true. But so
It's
everyone plays a part in the responsibility of the aftermath. That's just
absolutely
what it is. You knew what, and let me put this out there. This is excluding any sexual assault. This is excluding
right.
all of that.
Absolutely.
Everything is
Absolutely. We're
mutual
talking
from
about
what I'm talking
consensual
about. Right.
sex. Yes.
Exactly. So there is already the awareness, even if you did protect yourself, there's the awareness and understanding that a child can be produced from this sexual
Encounter.
encounter. So with that, with when the father, my experiences was the father chose not to pay
Hmm.
from day one. And my mom, if y'all know my mom, she is very secure. She
Absolutely.
didn't
Shout out to
ask
Miss Donna.
nobody for nothing, which may not say be the most healthy thing, but you get my point. So that was
Listen,
my
Miss Donna, I did not
perspective
say
in
that.
the,
I think all things you do are absolutely healthy, Miss Donna. You ain't gonna get me taken to the bathroom. No, ma'am.
she will. But there is one thing, no, there's two separate things on having the ability to provide and
Hmm.
care and financially sustain the parenting of a child by yourself and having the means versus that father having the financial responsibility
Right.
to participate. I won't even say it, it's an obligation, it's a responsibility to take care of that child as well, help take care of that child. What that
Right.
father is paying more times than not is not even half of what it is needed to care for that child on what that child needs.
Right.
So
Especially those fathers that's paying like, you know, $12,
$50.
$82, $150. Like, come on,
Yes.
let's just think about
Yes.
how much a trip to McDonald's is, right? Which I don't encourage because that food is horrible. But
Not food, but go ahead. But yeah,
right, it's not even real food. Anything that can sit in your car for 2 months and not turn colors is not real food. But I think that people forget just the reality of this because child support is a legal obligation. It is not a personal favor, right? So to say that, so, all right, Danielle, I just got to go in
as
because I
I
can't hold
can.
it no
All
more.
right. So,
Because you're
but
doing
but
all
I'm
the
gonna say
therapy
this
stuff.
as
I
well.
love it.
Yeah, because I want to provide that information and that view from the aspect of mental health. So there's
Right.
also the aspect of my other experience because I've actually experienced both. Both is one is being the child of the
Hmm.
single parent, and one being married to my husband.
Right.
And he paid child support. They're all grown now. Our children are grown, but except the little one. But so I have two different experiences, and
Yes.
on both ranges, if you will, of the experience, nothing was equated to someone's identity of self.
Right.
Those
Right.
are
And I
two
come from the
different
perspective
things.
of a child who received, like my father paid child support. Um, and then I am an adult who is receiving child support. You understand what I'm saying? So I want to be clear that we do have these two different perspectives because we've
Right.
covered four angles.
Right. So with that, the words and don't quote me per se and exactly what
Mhm.
was the message I was sent, but self-respect, you
And
perceiving anybody as weak has nothing to do with a father's obligation to raising their children.
right.
Those are two totally different things. Let's just make that clear. How you perceive yourself should not be tied to money. And if
Absolutely.
that's the case, then that's another reason why you should be in therapy.
And then since you said that, I want to go on record as saying this woman is an idiot.
Oh,
That's just we're
okay.
gonna go ahead and
For lack of
flatline
better
that right
words.
there. Huh?
There, I say for lack of better words, there you go.
No, no,
Translation.
no.
Thank
Those are
you.
the exact words. Like I have even better words, but those are the
No,
exact
no,
words
we're
I
gonna
wanted to
use that
use.
one. Okay.
We, yeah, we're going with that one. You're an idiot. And I have to say that because under no circumstances is what you're saying correct. First of all, to hold on to a dude, the fact that we got to put him on child support, right? Like probably means we don't want to hold on to him. Like let's just be clear about that. Now, can you still be emotionally tied to a man? Absolutely. But guess
Sure.
what? Having children will keep you emotionally tied to someone because you have a person that you guys are both supposed to be looking out for the well-being of. So when I hear conversations like this, especially because it was said to a child, you want this man to avoid his financial responsibilities? Because here's the thing, when when I chose to go to child support, it was because we could not come to an agreement. And so the state of California had to come to an agreement for us, right? But the mindset that you can avoid child support without understanding the financial and the emotional strain, because if I'm sitting in the dark, that means my kid is sitting in the dark with me. You understand what I'm saying? And I had a
Yeah.
conversation with a gentleman the other day, and he was just like, I really don't think that $900 is too much. He was like, I think with the cost of everything, like it's really reasonable. And I was like, absolutely, right? Like I understood that perspective.
Yeah.
But because I know such amazing men who are like, it is what it is. To hear a conversation like this from a woman who is like she literally said, I didn't charge my children child support. Well, my
That
children's
was a
father child
personal
support.
decision.
It was a personal
So
decision, but could you have even gotten it? Like, what kind of man were you dealing with?
wait,
What kind of man? Like, you
I
understand what I'm
wasn't
saying?
ready.
Like,
Oh no,
huh?
I
Did I
wasn't
miss
ready.
something?
But can we continue? Go ahead.
Because if we're being honest, some of
No,
us
that's very
can't go
true.
after men for child support. You don't have a social security number.
That's
You
true.
you done
Speak
slept with him.
it.
You don't even know his
Speak it.
birthday. You don't know his last name. You know what I'm saying? You know his
You know his
girl.
mama address. And
Right.
his
Because
mom was in
you
the
you couldn't even
shenanigans
send it to
too.
him.
So,
And his mama
but
swerving down that child support paper didn't come. So, like, let's just be honest about this conversation and why someone would be having it and why you would feel so strongly about it because you did not. But let's also talk about how did your children suffer because they did not have that support? Because child support is not a come up for the woman. Child
it's
support is about
not.
making sure the child has the same standard of living in both places. So the person who's paying child support typically is the person who is more financial well off because the custodial parent, and I'm not just talking about women, I'm talking about the custodial parent typically has to pay more in expenses. If I am a
Yeah.
single mom, if I'm a single woman, right, and my daughter lives with her dad, I can have a one-bedroom apartment. He don't have that option. He would have to
Right.
have a two-bedroom. I
You
can
would have
have
to.
I can have a roommate. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm single, but when I have a child living with me, I have to consider who else is going to be in this house, who's
Right.
coming and going, because you can't tell a roommate you can't have your boyfriend over, you can't have your girlfriend over. But
Right.
because we
Right.
don't
Because
know
it's
who this person is, that puts
right.
our child in a different in a risk factor. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
dating, I don't even let dudes know where I live. You know what I mean? Like it's like.
Mhm.
No, you don't need to come to the honeycomb hideout. So there's so much
Right.
more that the custodial parent has to consider
Mm-hmm.
because you you are doing what's best for your child. So I wanted to get back to this because
Yes.
when it is forced, right? Not and I'm not talking about the amount. I'm talking about just paying period,
Pain. Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
the
Just
amounts will
pain.
be very based on the income. But if you have to be forced, it's probably an indication of irresponsibility, not independence. You
Yeah.
didn't win because you're not paying child support. You're
Right.
actually displaying a level of irresponsibility that needs to be rid of society, or that society needs to be rid of, if we're just being honest.
Yeah.
Because you not paying, in your situation, your mom had it. That did not absolve the things that she had to struggle for. Because let's like think about the
Exactly.
things that she never told you. Like I listen,
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
absolutely missed meals to make sure that my daughter ate. I have absolutely had to plan it like, okay, this is what we're gonna be doing over the next couple of days. Um, this is what's going to be going on over the next couple of days. Like, let me make sure that I have this
Right.
amount of food, make sure she's covered. That's not
Right.
always the case. You
Okay.
understand
And
what I'm
that's
saying?
true too. Yes, and that's very true too. It makes me think of it was my senior year in high school, or like the end of junior year and senior year is all the things, right? All these events that don't cost, even back then didn't cost $20, or they
Right.
made it cost $20, but it was 5 events. So there you go, do the math. But
Right.
with that, I remember it, and every time our friends wanted to go, so Mom, can I go to the mall? Mom, can I do this? Mom, can I do that? And I remember, and she was like, okay, okay. And it could because she wants me to enjoy my senior year, as
Right.
it with all the things. Um, and there was one time she said, Danny, I can't keep paying for all the every event. Like I want you to enjoy your senior year, but every event. And that was the first time ever. And not, I'm gonna say this, not to say that she never necessarily struggled before, but it was to a point to where she was like, I've had to take out loans to make sure that you're good and that things that you want to do and I want you to enjoy, you can do. And when I tell you that was a slap in my face, you just at that age, you know what I mean?
Mm,
Because it's all me, 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 me.
right.
And then that's where my thought finally went to, how much do you get in child support? And also from that perspective, and then so she looked at me because I know anybody know my mama. She ain't talking finances with no child. But but
Right.
as I got older and become her version of adult, because Black people version of adult is different from the United States as a whole. But anyways, she explained, she said, I was getting anywhere from $35 to maybe $60 a month. And that's if I got it.
And that's if I got it.
If she got it. And she
Listen.
said, and in that time that when we were having the conversation, I was in my early 20s. She said, I'm still getting like $50, $60 checks because there's a
I
certain
hope he
amount
hit the
that
lotto and she get all her money just in a lump sum. Cause
he's kind of dwindled now, but I'm just saying, she was like, because of just the interest and things of that nature. And she's like, I don't even know
right.
how much he's supposed to pay in arrears and all that. But she said she was always been good with money, but it just speaks to the fact that you don't know what a mom is doing to sustain, to make sure their child and children is being taken care of. The aspects of it that's not free,
Yeah.
even with getting a $900 child support check, that is 4 days of groceries.
Right.
What about them other 26 days? You know what I mean? Like, what we doing? We just looking at each other and hoping
And
that
by
we
4 days
get
of
food.
groceries, because somebody gonna be like, well, that's the child is eating too much. They're eating steak and lobster. That's only 4 days. That was a figure of speech. But even like on average, let's just say groceries for the child is about $400 a month. Just the groceries. We're not talking about their
Thinking
rent.
of
We're not
a
talking
growing
about
football player. If
right.
I was able to make it stretch to four, okay, that's what with Vivian and breaking it. It didn't make it to Friday. I just knew that.
Right. And I want to say, because I think that it's important, seeking child support is about providing for the child. It's not about control. It's not about manipulation.
Right.
Okay. It is about making sure that the child is not suffering. And sometimes, even when you get the child support, it's not enough to make sure that the child is not suffering. And I think that people need to be honest about that, right?
Yeah.
And to say that only weak women do it when it actually absolutely takes a lot of strength to demand what is legally and ethically owed to the child. It takes
Yeah.
a lot of strength to demand that. It takes a lot of strength to deal with a man who you know is pissed off because of your request for child support, because you are demanding it. That takes a lot of strength.
It does. To
So
not
to
jump over
say
that
that it is a
table, you know
weak,
what I mean? Like the way
right,
that you have to contain yourself,
baby.
the way you have to hold them emotions back.
Eh,
And they said, let me go, let me go. The way that you have to, and I mean, we're being funny, but it's so the way that you have to contain and control on
yes.
every scheduled and unscheduled encounter.
And if we're being honest, sometimes it is easier to be like, let me just please walk away. Because the emotional and mental toll that it takes on the woman or takes on the custodial parent, because I don't want to make this about women, because I know single fathers, right? So but it's still, it's like you can be insufferable and we be like, nah, it's cool, let me just go ahead and let you do your thing. But to say that it's because they don't have respect for themselves, to say like,
So
how is that
let's
a
bring back to that. So the respect factor. And I am not sure if I've mentioned this in other episodes, but if this is your first, let me bring it back for you. So the way that we function as beings is strongly tied to what our family dynamic look like.
yes,
The role in which mom, dad, brother, sister, grandmother, grandpa, if they were even present, not like that, but we all have family dynamics.
right,
If and so that makes me my thoughts go to for this specific woman, was your father in your life?
right.
Where
And if he
mom and
was he a good dad?
Right, that would be the next thing. We're parents together. And I'll say that just because parents together does not mean that it's healthy. It's just the questions that come to mind. And if they were
Absolutely.
together, or if he was a part of your life, was it a healthy interaction? What were those experiences like for the most part? What was mom's relationship with dad? What was her perception of dad? Was he no good, da, 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 or I got this, I don't need him. And I'm saying
Right,
this
because that strong
because
woman
of
syndrome can mess you up
exactly, exactly. And
just
I'm
as
saying
much as,
this
yeah,
from working with women that we don't realize that we pull our own messages and sometimes messages that are directly told to us
come
from
on.
the women and the men in our family, who was there and who was not there. So if you had a father who was absent, then you just created your own message. I
Absolutely.
remember in junior high, and I had a best friend, and every time we wanted to go somewhere, she would ask her mom, and then she was like, I have to ask my dad. I mean, her dad, excuse me. And I'd be like, why? But that was my experience. There was no man in my house.
I
So why
was
are you
like,
asking
why
this
well, since
man?
when we
And
gotta
she
ask daddies?
and then she because that's my daddy. And my response was, what's that mean? Because that was my experience. There was no
Right.
male figure titled daddy that established any type of respect from me.
Yes.
So our experiences strongly impact our views and our beliefs. So
Hmm.
from that, we do come encounter with other people who align with that self message that we've made. It don't make it
Yes.
right, but they align with that. So your current or this lady's current view where she feels, well, her level of self-respect and her view of herself may be tied to a dollar, but a healthy
Oh,
self-respect
that's a
is
good
not
point.
tied to anything tangible. A healthy self-respect all starts with the core of you, not anything outside of that.
Yes. Yes. And to shame women for advocating for their child's needs says a lot about the person or people who feel this way. Because she's not the only one who feel this way. I'm sure it's the whole,
Sure,
especially
sure.
women who are in relationship with the man who is paying. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yes, let's
Because
talk about it.
I think, say that again.
I said, let's talk about it.
Because I think a lot of times women go, don't buy those extra shoes, you paying child support. Don't give her money for that. That's included in your child support. Now listen, child support is to cover the needs. It's not for luxuries. We get that, right? However, sometimes Children are gonna need a little more. They gonna want some things. And if he wants a pair of shoes and you got it, why, especially when you got on the same pair of shoes, why would you not? Why would you not? If my daughter went, she wanted to stay with her dad for a week. And he was like, I'm going to put her in the program that's local. And I was like, okay, let me know how much it is so that I can share. But now, normally she's with me, right? But it's summertime. She's like, I want to do
Right.
a week at, the youth center. No problem.
Right.
So I said, tell me how much, it is so I can send you half. And he was
Mhm.
like, I, I don't, I wouldn't ask you for half. And I said, you don't have to because I'm her parent. So
Right.
I like you understand what I'm saying? Because the bills
Yeah, I
at my
think that
house
went over
didn't
some
stop.
people's head, but right.
Come on now, the bills at my house are still there. She's only gone for a week. Those bills are still there. But let me know how much it's going to be because I will participate in it. Because if she's going to a youth center and it's going to cost you $100, $200, because let's be honest, I'm not going to even finish that
Yeah,
sentence.
it's
But
not
some
the
of these
same.
programs are like $400 a week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're putting her in something that's going to cost like that, let me split this cost because you
Yeah.
you still got to feed her all week. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? And he was like,
Mhm.
I wouldn't ask you. You don't have to ask me for that.
Right.
I am her parent. We are co-parenting these
Right.
expenses. Now if you taking her on a shopping spree because you like, man, she needs some clothes while she's here. That's different because she got a whole closet full
She
of
got
clothes at my
close.
house.
Right. Right. Because
And
she
and
has
truth be told, you could probably just take a couple pair of these.
that.
come
Right.
get come get some of this stuff that she don't even wear. You know what I mean? But the mindset that I like as a mom, as a parent, I'm not even gonna say a mom, as a parent, my first thought was how much so that I can send you this other half.
Yeah.
But the question is, would you do that? Like to say women are weak and it's like, let's bring this back, sis. Let's bring it back. Let's really think about how this mindset is. Now, if all things are being equal and we start splitting equal, do you think a child could live on this amount alone? Do you think like because you let's split the rent, right? Not in half, but let's split it in half so that we know what half the child is costing for the child. And then let's split that in half. Let's
Right.
look at the light bill. Oh, it's $400. Okay, let's split it in half, 200, and then okay, let's do 100 each on that. If we start splitting things equally, could you handle it? But as a woman who is dating a man or married to a man who is paying child support, the mindset that oh that's enough, especially if you've raised your kids on your own, why would you send another woman through that?
So to answer that question, and
Okay,
I'm not
listen.
I'm not providing justification, but to answer that question, that I feel that and like I said, I'm speaking from the mental health perspective, but it's strongly tied to that person or her unhealed inner child. There are so many things that we as humans do that's strongly tied to things that we experience within our childhood. Some of those things we are aware of, but there are a lot that we
Right.
are not. So the mean girl syndrome that was in an adult body that jumped out her mouth and said that to another child was her inner child who was angry
Well,
and
I
hurt.
think it said that she said it to another adult, but she said it in front of the child. I don't want to. I
So
don't
to
want to say
me, in
she said it
front
to
of
the
her
child.
is to the child
Okay. Yes,
because
ma'am.
we
Yeah.
know, because let's be honest, we know what we're doing. We know what we're saying. We know who's an in shot. We know what that meant. And we know
Yes.
who that was for to hear.
Yes.
So her hurt and abandoned inner child wanted to make this daughter's, her boyfriend, fiance, whomever title he is, daughter feel the same way that she felt.
Mm,
It don't make it right or okay, but to understand what in the hell is happening here
yeah.
and what is going on and why.
Yeah.
And for this man to be with this woman It's unfortunate because it's a choice, and he's choosing to be with a woman who, and let's be honest, when dealing with therapy, I'm a licensed therapist. This is not the first time that this person has displayed the behavior that was questionable, that
Mm.
was unhealthy.
And somebody gonna be like, she know that from an email? Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, because it goes with pattern behaviors.
absolutely.
And you don't only do it with one person. And no, we slip up, okay? We forget who we
Absolutely.
talking to, and we can only hold on this mask for so long, and the true colors start coming through. So it's unfortunate, and it's very, very sad. And it's
It
many
is.
women and just adults who are functioning from their unhealed inner child.
And I'm gonna say this because I think that, oftentimes men are the the center of this conversation, right? Um, and there are a lot, like I said, I know a lot of single fathers, where the moms have walked away or the moms have done the very minimum. Usually the fathers have never even gone to court for child support, and I think that they should, if we're just being honest. That being said, it's not about fathers, it's about parents, right? Child support is part of parenting. And so providing it isn't optional just because the relationship between you guys ended.
Right.
To say that relationship is over and you're just trying to hold on to him. No, I'm trying to make sure that the responsibility is being fulfilled.
Yeah.
And dodging child support is a reflection of the parent failing to meet their parental responsibilities. Being with the person who is dodging child support is a reflection of your own self worth. Because I don't deal
Guess
with people
what?
who don't
Your
take care of.
self-esteem, just so we can put all the formulas together.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right. And I remember hearing a guy say before, like, if I was a gang member, she wouldn't even try to get child support from me. And she said, well, I don't have sex with gang members. So there's that. Right.
Right, right, right.
And I was just like, well, now she got a point there, sir. Like, she chose wisely, and then you tripped, right? And so, I it's such an unfortunate situation, in my opinion, that no, I'm gonna hold it as fact. It's such an unfortunate situation that uh, so many people who are with the non-custodial parent, right? Because men have these conversations with the non-custodial parent that they're dating as well. And at some point, we have to, as a society, just go, there is still an obligation, and holding you accountable for your role ensures a balanced, well lived life in raising this child, right?
Yeah.
That custodial parent deserves to be able to go get their hair cut or to get their hair done or to go buy a pair of shoes for themselves, or you know what I'm saying, like they deserve to be able to do things for themselves and not just put all of their money in this one spot. And I think that a lot of times people go, when you exhaust everything you have, then come over here. That's not how it works.
Right,
That's
right,
not how it
right.
works. It's not me exhausting every ounce of energy and financial, um, uh, all of my finances, and then all of my emotional stability, and then all of my spiritual. Like, come on, at some point, you got to go, well, let me go first sometime. Let me go first sometime. But when it's a constant thing of you backing out or you doing the bare minimum, because if we're honest, child support really is the bare minimum. Are you
It
showing up to
is
games?
more
Are
time.
you
Yeah,
reading
yeah.
to the child? Are you helping with
Right,
homework? Are you paying
right,
the tutor? Are you getting the
right.
tutor? Did you show up to the doctor's appointment? Did you make the doctor's appointment? Did you drive? Did you
Did you
pick
go
up
get
the
the
child and take
medicine?
them? Did
Right.
you
Did
get
you
the
follow
medicine?
up? Yes. Did you call the
Did you
pharmacy back to
minister?
see that?
Did you come on? And did you
Yes.
administer the medicine as
Yeah.
doctor prescribed?
At 3:30 in the morning.
Did anybody have to call you and say, wake up and go get a baby the medicine? Or did you set your own alarm for that?
Yeah.
When the baby
And
was
that
sick,
and
did you
actually
make
with
sure?
no,
Go ahead,
and
because you know
but
I can
with
keep
you saying
going.
that made me think of because I was gonna say something, but I forgot. But like you were saying, like the financial responsibility that is the bare minimum. Because with parenting, there's layers to that. There's dynamics to parenting that's not just about a physical, I mean, a financial, excuse me. And physically being there is another aspect, but being present, being
Absolutely.
emotionally, mentally present is an aspect that's needed as well.
Yes.
So
And you
when,
can't put a dollar amount on that.
and you cannot do that. So as a parent, as the adult and the parent of the child, the finances is a big thing because they're not free. Our children are not free. Every day my child's
Absolutely.
asking for something. I'm like, girl, you got everything plus some.
Listen, the way I looked at Kayla's $600 Sheen card, ma'am,
You have me, I forgot. I purposely forgot that when I told my daughter, go and put some, get some things put in the Shein cart and we'll look at it. And that's why I was like, okay, I'm not having the right talks with her when it comes to the budget. Because maybe I was just going to the fact like you say $100, okay, that was 525. I said, what in the world? But I could not be mad. I did not give her a limit.
Oh, is that what
I
it
just
is?
went
I
off
didn't say,
the hope
I
factor.
set the limit
And
after I saw the price, though. I
well,
was
after I
like, we
saw it, and
gonna
I
go
said,
down
oh,
to a
honey,
hundred dollars.
you need to take out $400 and $425 of what's in this cart because the 25 gonna be the shipping. So and she was like, oh, I didn't know. And I said, yeah, mama, my bad. Because I just assuming and my bad for assuming. I know next time put something in the cart me, your limit is $85 because the ship it needs to the total included shipping needs to be $100. I digress. But our children are always asking for something. And then,
Yes,
like you mentioned, when you see something, you want to be able to pick it up and get it for the child, whether they necessarily need it right then and there or don't need it. It's just something like, oh, that's nice. Or
absolutely.
it's clearance and the seasons are changing. Let me get this $35 jacket right now because during end season it's gonna be 65.
Yes,
So having to pre-plan and address the unexpected and address the daily living aspects, it's and let me say this as well. We are not saying that everybody's child support situation falls within the realm of what we're speaking about and what we said. There are some situations where parents are paying an astronomical amount of money, and it could be the other parents still trying to go back for more money. That's not what we're speaking. That's not what
right.
this
We're
topic
talking
is.
about the
That's not what we're
average
speaking on.
situation. Yeah,
Right. And
we
I
ain't
want to
talking
put
about
that out there because
celebrities.
you're right. We're like, I'm not
That's
like I don't want every people to feel that, oh, people do that or women do that, or we're not speaking about that. We're speaking about the 9 to 5ers. Yeah. So and even entrepreneurs that are just trying to live day to day. Okay. Just trying to
listen, because
just
this
trying to
entrepreneur
live
life
what
ain't
used to be
easy.
called the best life, but we just trying to live to the end of the month. So
Right.
with that,
And sometimes it's too much month at the end of the money.
so the for the unhealed woman who chooses to verbally attack a child with
Mm.
words that they know are going to emotionally harm that child is concerning.
And it can make the child feel like they're a burden.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't know how that child internalizes that their need causes conflict between their parents. Because when you're just flip at the mouth, you're not thinking about how would this conversation impact this child
Yeah.
whose parent is paying child support, whose parent is receiving child support, and now they're thinking, oh man, I am a in this situation, I am a burden on my dad.
And for the woman to say, I don't know, is unacceptable. You're an adult. You're
Right.
supposed to choose better. So even
and
if you
and
are having that
understand that it can
conversation,
go ahead.
No, I was saying, even if you were having that conversation with your friend, you can say whatever you want to your friend. But however, you have that conversation when your fiance's or boyfriend, whomever, I don't know the title,
Right. Boyfriend,
but
husband, who, yeah.
daughter is not there. And
Yes.
I'm assuming the visitation is like every other week, and you got 5 to 7 days to share that information to a friend, and you chose on these 2 days.
Come
See,
on
that
here.
just showed you
And that is a
showing
level
who
of
you are.
immaturity.
Yeah,
Now,
you are
I want to
showing.
speak to the mom real quick, right?
Okay.
The person who sent the letter, because I could feel, when I read it, I was pissed. So I know since you were seething, don't take him off of child support. In fact, there's a petty part of me. I don't say this out loud, Kiana. I'm gonna grab my words. I'm gonna grab my words. But there is a petty part of me that's like, he needs to understand how much she is negatively impacting your co-parenting.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Because when you address it, then they feel like you just spazzing out and now you're the bitter baby mama. When
Right.
you don't address it, they feel like they won. And that might make it sting in your chest a little bit. But don't. I'm going to suggest that you be prayerful. I am going to suggest that your prayer is that God opens the eyes of all of y'all in the situation, child included.
Yeah.
It is very difficult to tell a person that their significant other is a jerk, but go ahead and do that. Go ahead and say, you know what? This is the kind of rhetoric that leave children feeling guilty or responsible for the financial tension between their parents.
Yeah.
This is the thing that warps their understanding of adult
Right.
relationships. This
Right.
is something that hinders the positive communication between parents about difficult topics.
Right.
Because if I need an extra $5, just not even for you to buy the shoes, but for you to just give me $5 on it. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
It hurts that relationship. And we should have that as co-parents. In
Right.
co-parenting, we should be able to say, hey, you know what? Things are a little bit tight. Right. Now, I'm not for, the non-custodial parents saying, well, I don't have it this month. Okay. Because I got to make sure I still have it. The
Right.
child's still
Right.
needs.
Regardless, even when I don't.
But I'm not against working with that other parent and saying, okay, listen, all right, you don't have it. Okay. But can you take care of this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it because people do fall on hard times.
Yeah. Yeah.
But set the example for the child on respect and responsibility. Because to
Right.
say, oh well, you get to be absolved. What is it? Absolved from? I'm, that ain't the word. Okay,
Okay.
but to say that they don't have to do
Right. Right.
it, to let them off the hook, right?
Hmm.
And maybe that's God's way of saying, like, listen, keep this on where everybody understands. We don't need the big words today. My brain ain't
Right.
working. I ain't even had my coffee. Right. But be mindful of how and I'm saying this to this woman, but it's also a conversation I have had with a male in my life regarding him being a single parent to a young girl. You cannot get caught up in the foolishness of those people. You still got to be the parent. You still got to show up. And this is the unbalance of parenting, where the custodial parent still got to be the most amazing person,
They do.
even when
They do.
on the other side they are being complete assholes.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And it's
Yeah.
not the life you signed up for, but it is
Right.
the hand that you are dealt. Play your cards right. Play your
Yeah.
cards right.
Yeah. Mm.
Play your cards right because you're gonna quit playing. And I'm so not cussing, Danielle. I
Yeah, I'm about to say, hold
listen.
on, we started to shift. Hold on. I don't know if y'all felt that, but hey, yeah. Let
Because
me
it
chime in
pissed
right
me
quick.
off. It pissed me off because here
Well,
is
yeah,
this
very
young
understand.
child in this situation, and
Yeah.
they didn't ask to be. And I think that a
Right.
lot of times you got to understand that child support is the screwing you get for the screwing you got. By all
Yeah.
by
It,
all means.
anyway, so I'm trying not to go there, okay? Let me keep thoughts stay over here, okay? Don't go over there where she is.
Listen, and that's what I love about my friends because they will come.
I'm trying to stay here, y'all. I'm trying to stay here. But but I feel that this is a relatable topic to so many people.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And like you mentioned, the unfortunate rhetoric in regards to just child support in general, like we've done a previous episode on it, and you say child support, and everybody ears go up. So it is something that still that's still impacting us. Granted, it impacts everybody, but I'm just speaking, in regards to us, related to the message and the belief we tie to it, um, and what is passed down
Yes.
from generation to generation to generation. So, and because it's been passed down, it don't mean that it's right.
And sometimes you got to pass down.
Like, so you see my face, right? Hold on. I don't even want to know what you're about to say. So, with that being said,
Sometimes you got to pass. Y'all know what I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm saying.
but
What's
it
understood
does
don't have to
take
be explained.
being, excuse me, it does take being the bigger person
Yes.
to have the self respect to do what's right.
Now, in
That's where
that,
self respect.
I'm also gonna say, because you listen, y'all getting a therapist, Danielle. Sometimes I'm not Coach Kiana, sometimes I'm Key Loken. Okay. So that being said, we can only pull up our big girl draws. Them big girl panties can only go up. It's like, let me put them on, let me put them on, let me pull up my big girl panties. Eventually, the elastic gonna snap and you gonna show your ass, right?
Yeah,
And when
yeah,
you do, just make sure you got all your paperwork in order.
I agree with that as well. I'm all about legal. I mean, it should always be together, first of all. But yes,
Right.
just
But
saying.
sometimes we slack on it, right? But
Yeah,
again, this is not about in this situation, it was about like the person saying that moms, are weak. But I
right,
just think that as it relates to child support, that's not a father thing. That is a parent thing,
right,
right?
right.
If you are parenting, there are obligations, mental, physical, emotional, financial, spiritual, professional, that you should be participating in.
Right. Part of consistently,
Right.
not
And
when
if
it's
you
convenient
can't
or
do your part, you don't need like if you can't do your part with your child, you really don't need no significant other.
correct.
Can we just go and put that out there? You
Yes,
don't
you
have
can.
time to
You
show
can
up
say
to
it
the school,
again
but
because
you got
I
time to
think
show
that went
up
over
to
a lot of people's head. Like, what that apply to me? No, it applies to you.
right.
If you don't
If
know how
you
to
can't
balance
show up to
accordingly,
games, if you can't show up to PTA meetings, if you can't show up to conferences, if you can't show up when somebody does something to your child, if you understand what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about the stuff that you want to stick your chest out about. I'm talking about everything. But you got time to go, to the white party. You got time to go to, the job function. Come on now. You
correct.
got time to do Thanksgiving with their family, but not Christmas with your kid. You probably don't need a significant other because it sounds to me like they taking up too much time.
It sounds like you choosing the distraction. But anyway,
Come on here.
or the excuse, whichever one you want to put in there.
So we have done our best to come to you
Right.
guys as professional
I
as
think we did a
possible.
pretty darn good job.
We have come as professionally as we know how. At least I did. Danielle actually came as a professional. I came as a mom who was just like, "What this letter say? What? Let me read this again." And if you too would like help, what's your situation?
Yes,
What's
that's
your
too funny.
situation? Please feel free to send us an email to therealonparenting@gmail.com. Feel free to send us a message on our social media platform, The Real on Parenting. You can reach me at Coach Kiana Shaw. You can reach Danielle at therapist_Danielle. Did I
Yes.
get it?
Mhm.
Look
You
at
did.
me. Look at me.
Yes.
We are
Yes.
happy to address your concerns on another episode. Please don't think that we finna go back and forth with you in our chats, though.
What
Okay,
we're not
you
doing.
can send us the idea. We are happy to address it at that time, but we are not going back and forth in the chat, baby.
We got what? Self-respect.
Right.
So there you go. hmm
And we got checks tied to this when we doing one-on-one. Send the letter, get a group coaching.
Right. Anyways, we need to go.
Thank y'all for joining us. We will see you on the next episode of The Real on Parenting. Bye bye.